Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So now guys, a lot of people feel that Nigerians are the victim of the crime that is the Malam Buhari regime. Yes, but no. But yes, but no. So it is yes and no that is the answer to that conundrum. So let me explain. Yes, of course, Nigerians are the victims of the armed robbery that is effectively taking place within the Nigerian space since 2015. Because make no mistake, it is a heist that is taking place in Nigeria at the moment. The citizens and the country are being held at gunpoint as armed robbers, which is effectively what the Malam Buhari regime is. So the victims, i.e. the Nigerians, are being held at gunpoint as armed robbers, which is Buhari and his co-travelers, are looting the country hand over fist. And by looting, that is even elegant language, they are robbing the country hand over fist. So that is the first victim of the criminality of the criminal regime that we have in place at the moment are the Nigerian people. But the second victim are the people robbing the place themselves. So let me explain, and let me use a hostage situation as an example to make the point. So let's say, for instance, you are holding somebody at hostage at gunpoint. The victim of that situation is not just the person that is being held, but you, the aggressor yourself. So there are two victims. The primary victim, of course, is the person that is being held, because they are being held at fear of their life and against their will, and being repressed and oppressed. So that is the first instinctual go-to in terms of an understanding of the situation. But you, that person that is holding the other person at gunpoint, you are also a victim too, because you have to remain heightened. You have to make sure that that gun is continually pointed, and you have to maintain your level of aggression. So every single person within that situation has to have like a high octane state of alertness, because of the state of alertness, of course, of the victim is heightened, and you, the aggressor, your state of alertness has to be heightened too, because it's a perilous situation, and it is a existential situation, and it is a situation of life and death. So that is the example then that makes the point, and that is the point exactly, that Nigerians are not just the victims of the criminality that is taking place within the Nigerian space. The criminals are also the victim, i.e. Buhari and his co-travelers. The criminals are also the victims of the criminality that is taking place within the Nigerian space. So with that setting the background, with that setting the tone, guys, I bring you this. Buhari removed me as Chief Justice of Nigeria because of Atiku. Cjn Onnoghen, that is the person now piping up, coming up for air. This is a guy that has allowed for a grace period to allow the activities that surrounded his controversial removal from that position to peter down and settle down, and for himself, of course, to recalibrate and extricate himself from what was a very dangerous situation that he found himself. So now, having allowed for that period, he is now coming out into the public space now to have a say on exactly what's transpired. Again, Buhari removed me as Chief Justice of Nigeria because of Atiku, a headline attributed to Cjn Onnoghen. So now let's now see what the blink of an eye Chief Justice of Nigeria had to say, or former Chief Justice of Nigeria. I say blink of an eye, of course, because it was only there for barely a moment. So now let's now see now what the ex-Chief Justice of Nigeria has to say. Former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Samuel Cjn Onnoghen, retired on Friday, broke silence on why President Muhammadu Buhari-led APC government unceremoniously removed him from office in 2019. Onnoghen, at a book launch he attended with his wife on Friday, revealed that prior to his removal, there had been rumors from the executive that he held a meeting with former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, preparatory to the 2019 general election. Onnoghen spoke at the unveiling of a book titled Fundamental Rights Enforcement Procedure Rules 2009 Practice, Procedure, Forms and Precedents, authored by a renowned legal luminary, Chief James Onnoghen, Cjn. The former Chief Justice of Nigeria said he was surprised that in spite of the fact that the federal government had all the machineries to investigate the allegation of the rumored meeting with Atiku, it never did so, but opted to unlawfully go after him and his office. Onnoghen said the rumor was thick and spread fast, but he decided not to react to it because he never traveled to Dubai or held any meeting with anybody, including Atiku. Onnoghen said that the situation climaxed when suddenly his trial at the Code of Conduct Tribunal was stage managed, even when he had not been invited or accused of any wrongdoing. The action of the government, according to Onnoghen, got to the peak when, in the course of the trial and when parties had joint issues, an ex parte application was suddenly brought in, and what followed was his illegal and unlawful suspension as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Prior to my suspension, I was confronted with no allegation. There were rumors that I met with Atiku in Dubai. As I am talking here today, I have never met Atiku one-on-one in my life. As if that was not enough, I was also accused of setting free high-profile criminals, whereas I ceased to be a High Court judge as far back as 1978. In Supreme Court, I did not sit alone, we sat in panel. In all these rumors and outright accusations, I was not given opportunity to defend myself. Let me make it clear that the office of the Chief Justice of Nigeria was not for Walter Onnoghen, but for all Nigerians who had sworn to guide and protect the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. To say the least, the period of my ordeal was the darkest era in the history of Nigerian judiciary. As I have severally, judicial officers must be courageous. I want to beg all serving judicial officers not to be discouraged by what happened to me in the hand of the executive arm of government, Justice Onnoghen stated. He advised upcoming judicial officers to be brave and courageous. Imagine Nigerian judges should not go the direction of injustice, because without courageous judges and justice, Nigeria is doomed. Here, let me sound this note of warning that the appointment of judicial officers must never be allowed to be politicized, otherwise democracy and democratic governance will be dead. During my tenure, the problem of Nigeria was not the Nigerian judiciary, but those who had no regard for the rule of law. We must therefore be committed to the rule of law and dispense justice without fear or favor. Truth stands, crush it, it will stand because it is truth, Onnoghen added. He said his ordeal in 2019 was not the first, adding that at a point during former President Olusegun Obasanjo's regime, a commission was set up and that he was indicted of wrongdoing even when he was not invited or appeared before the commission to defend himself. Onnoghen, however, said because former President Obasanjo was a leader who listened to advice, the matter was referred to the National Judicial Council (NJC) for review. He said at the council, truth surfaced and it was upheld to resolve unclear issues. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the words, of course, of our Justice Onnoghen. The former, just for a minute, Chief Justice of Nigeria, I don't think he served up to 3-4 months in that post before he was unceremoniously removed through some abracadabra magic by El Rufai, Malam Buhari, Abba Kyari then, and the usual suspects. So they removed him, of course, because they did not want him in situation for the 2019 election. And of course, they needed their own Hausa Fulani imposition for the inevitable lawsuit that would come after the 2019 election, because of course they knew that they had no chance of winning the will of the Nigerian people, having brutalized the country for 4 years solid. So now I was saying in the preamble to the story in the build-up that there are two victims of the Nigerian crime, the Buhari crime that is taking place over the Nigerian space at the moment. So now I was saying then that the second victim is the administration. So this administration of Malam Buhari, they are somewhat victims of the situation that they have created for themselves. So what am I saying? These people are victims of this situation because they have stolen so much from the Nigerian state. And if you want to know how much these people have stolen, your eyes will pop. When Goodluck Jonathan left office, you remember then that there was a purple patch for the oil industry, and the oil was selling for a premium for a large part of the Goodluck Jonathan regime. So when Goodluck Jonathan left office, one of his first pronouncements as the ex-president is that he has left a solid cushion for the incoming administration of about $30 billion. And that $30 billion, by the way, is not the savings in the excess crude account. It's not that. It is like a float. It's like an extra money to hit the ground running. So $30 billion was what this guy had left in the coffers, just as in the what is it called, in the primary account, what is it called, in the current account? Yes, current account. So in the current account, not in the savings account, but in the current account of the country, that as soon as you get in, this is this bunch of money that just insulates you. But when Malam Buhari came in, you remember that he did not form a government for 6 months. And after that period, well into that period, it suddenly started to come out to say that there was absolutely nothing in the country's treasury when he came in. So now we have two situations. Goodluck Jonathan told us that he left $30 billion for this guy to start off. And this guy has now come in to tell us that he did not even see one single penny in the country's account. So there's a lie being told by someone, at least, because those are two completely contradictory pronouncements from these two elements now, Goodluck Jonathan and Malam Buhari. So now you take your pick on who you are going with, but I am going with Goodluck Jonathan because he has no reason to say that he did that unless he did do that. You remember that Goodluck Jonathan actually gave the power to Malam Buhari when they could well have held on to the power. You saw how Buhari was voted out in 2019 and he refused to leave Aso Rock. So Goodluck Jonathan could have done the exact same thing. The heavens did not fall in 2019 and the heavens would not have fallen in 2015. There have been rioting in the northern parts. They would have escalated more insurgency, but it would have been managed with the resources of the country. So Goodluck Jonathan could have done that, but he didn't. So there's no reason not to believe that he left that $30 billion. But that $30 billion then, Malam Buhari was telling us that he did not meet a penny. And to add to that, not satisfied because that $30 billion is not enough to satiate them. Tinubu alone will take a good solid 10 billion of that, so it's not enough to satiate them. So they have now been looting endlessly the Nigerian coffers since 2015, ever since. Endless and endless and endless examples of this just crass, criminal, barbaric looting that is taking place within the Nigerian space. So this is the situation, examples after examples after examples. The most recent one is the 50 billion naira that is missing from the customs service, but the story that came out was that they caught 2.5 billion deal for Buhari's daughter Zara, so that she can then be held as the leg that they tied to the desk to get away with that money, because of course the investigation would never allow for criminality to be associated with Malam Buhari's golden child. So that is their escape route to get away with that 51, it was actually 51 billion naira. So they walk away with 51, they stole 51 billion naira. They caught Malam Buhari's daughter Zara 2.5 billion as surety to guarantee their escape, and they walk away with the rest. So that is the latest, but of course we have the examples of Ganduje, we have the examples of Abakari, we have the examples of Aisha Buhari and ADC. We have just examples after example. They are just looting hand over fist. They are building Kano, Kaduna Kano, Abuja Expressway at the highest cost that any road has ever been built in the history of any country on this planet. Of course, they're just looting money. They are using $1.5 billion to rehabilitate a refinery in Port Harcourt, only to tell us then that the refinery is not working anymore, and then we continue to rely on Dangote. So 1.5 billion American dollars to just countless examples. They take out $1 billion out of the, and by the way, all these billions and billions that we're talking about, they are not just monopoly money. Those billions and billions of dollars that we're talking about is the road that is killing people in the eastern regions that they're not able to build when there are so many potholes and cars are tipping over each other and people are dying. That is the billions of dollars that we're talking about. The hospital that only needed to give a child a small injection, so that whatever it is, that minor ailment leaves that guy, that child's body within 2-3 days, and that child grows up to be an asset to society, becomes a doctor, engineer, etc. But instead that child dies because there's no medical facility. That is the billions and billions. So the value cost, because I always land on this, and you have to remember that Nigeria is a third world country, so the impact is even more profound from the looting that these people are doing. So now, if there was a change of regime, the stealing of these people, and by the way, this stealing that these people are stealing is facilitated very much by Malam Buhari, not only because he is a corrupt man, which he is. Everybody that knows the story of Buhari knows that is the first and primary name of corruption within the Nigerian space, or maybe not over and above Babangida and Abacha, etc., but certainly he was the one that set the tone when he was the Minister of Petroleum for Obasanjo during his military days as head of state in the late 70s, early 80s, etc. So he is the marquee name for corruption, but that is not really what's led to this situation. What has led to this situation is not just that Buhari is a corrupt man, is also because Buhari is frail of mind and of body. He's a very ill man, and is not a man that is in full possession of his faculties. So his handlers just manage him to keep him alive and to keep him with some level of lucidity occasionally when they pump him up with heavy medication, just to make some recorded pronouncements to the Nigerian people, just so that they can still say that, oh, he's still alive and he's still alert. So that is what is going on. So that then leaves a rudderless country with no leadership, which is effectively a free-for-all. And the people, of course, that surround Malam Buhari are all criminals. The customs guy, Hamid Ali, were already discussing the 50 billion naira, but then that 50 billion naira is not just a one-off, it's just the 50 billion naira that has been highlighted out of the countless billions that has been ongoing pretty much since 2015. So a looting free for all. The Abubakar Malami that is building estates all over Nigeria and the Middle East just from being a salary earner. So that's an element too. And all of these elements, just as countless of them. So this is the situation now. So now if you had a change of regime within the Nigerian space, the incoming regime, even if it is somebody as corrupt as Atiku Abubakar, the incoming regime would have been so alarmed at the level of stealing that has taken place that it would have had no choice but to make sure that heads roll. People would have been rounded up, people would have been paraded in handcuffs, and people would have been jailed, and people would have been fleeing the country to go and seek exile elsewhere. So they could not afford a transiting of governance in 2019. That is an absolute thing that could not happen. So then, of course, the sacrificial lamb had to be Justice Walter Onnoghen, because they could not rely on Justice Walter Onnoghen, a person from the East, to pin the hope of Malam Buhari, a jingoist and a religious and ethnic bigot from the North, to pin their hope on him. So they needed one of their own to be in situation, and that of course is the build-up then to this rather fanciful and ridiculous story of Onnoghen meeting Atiku and plotting against the Buhari regime, and that is how they got rid of him. The Onnoghen fella is now saying he didn't say he had never met Atiku, by the way, so you have to be clear on what this guy is saying. He has said he has never been one-on-one with Atiku. This is what he has said, not that he has not met Atiku. Of course, somebody of that high a profile would have met Atiku, because of course Atiku is forever in court, and Onnoghen is one of the leading judges within the Nigerian space. But they got rid of him, of course, because he's effectively an Igbo man, and they cannot have an Igbo man deciding their faith, because of course the Igbo man would want to go, even if the Igbo man is not going against them. If the Igbo man is going with the rule of law, they stand no chance. So they needed a Rankade the merchant, a Yamutu agent, and of course they had to get rid of Onnoghen and put Tanko Mohammed there. Come share thought about all this with me in the comment section, but before you come into the comment section to engage, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Click on like as well, because that helps with YouTube algorithm. Once you've done all the clickings, abracadabra is effectively the summation of the Nigerian space. Magic tricks, Professor Pella. Now you see it, now you don't. Or do you see it? Come share thought. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on with you in the comment section. But here, I say, peace.